We now move ahead to the second speaker. May I please invite Mr. Amendra Singh to come and share the vision of our organization.
Dhanyavad Bharti ji, distinguished guests and members. There is a war being waged against Hindi, Hinduism, and Hindustan. When I refer to Hindi, I refer to all the indigenous languages of Bharat. Hinduism is, of course, the term that is commonly used today for Sanatan Dharma. And by Hindustan, I refer to that land stretching from the Himalayas to the Indian Ocean, known as Bharat. The frontline warriors in this war against us are a loose alliance of Islamists, Khalistanis, Christian evangelists, left-wing groups, and indeed some who themselves claim to be Hindus. Their avowed aim is the dismantling of Hinduism and the disintegration of Bharat. Some espouse the slogan, Bharat tere tukde honge, openly. Others have that same exact agenda, but they propagate it insidiously. These Shatrus of Hinduism and Hindustan are no ordinary people. They are sophisticated and they are influential. They hold positions of power in the highest echelons of the media, in academia, in NGOs, in student bodies, lobby groups, and in the political sphere. They have been operating effectively for decades in countries such as India, the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom. They have now set their sights firmly on Australia and New Zealand and are running a sustained campaign here. The response by Australian Hindus to these attacks has been perceived, whether rightly or wrongly, to have been muted, sporadic in nature, and lacking in a cohesive strategy. It was against this background that a small group of us got together and decided to form the AHA. Our members come from diverse backgrounds and callings. We now have members from all the states of Australia, as well as the ACT. Our members bring with them broad and diverse skills and experience. They come from backgrounds such as law, medicine, pharmacy, academia, media, information technology, finance, accounting, commerce, engineering, and telecommunications. In terms of their origins, our members trace their roots to 16 different states and territories of India, as well as Australia and Fiji. The first thing that we've set out to analyze is this: what information is being provided to the mass media, to social media influencers, to academics, and to politicians about Hindus and Hinduism, and who provides that information? As a corollary to that, what is the image and perception of Hindus that is being conveyed in the mass media, in social media, in academia, and by politicians? It is the rights and interests of Hindus in these specific spheres that is our focus. Let me be very clear. We have not come into existence as a competitor or a replacement for existing Hindu organizations. Many Hindu organizations have been working for decades in Australia. They've been building temples, teaching about Hinduism, teaching Indian languages, feeding the needy, promoting Hindu festivals and culture, and so forth. We are here to complement the work of those organizations. Unfortunately, the tremendous work that Hindu organizations have been doing on the ground is rarely publicized in the public media adequately or acknowledged by our political class. Instead, the false narrative that is being fed incessantly by this cabal is that Hinduism and Hindu organizations are regressive, discriminatory, and even synonymous with terror groups. We cannot simply sit back and allow this to continue. It is not going away. It is only going to get worse. So Hindus must raise their voices in social media, to the mass media, to academics, and to politicians every time that Hindus are maligned or a Hindu life is lost because he was a Hindu. The 2016 census revealed that there were 440,000 Hindus in Australia at that time. We were the third largest non-Christian religious community in Australia, after Muslims and Buddhists. Significantly, Hindus are growing at the rate of 60%. What that means is that today, there are about 700,000 Hindus in Australia, making us the second largest non-Christian religious community after Muslims. What it also means is that it is only a matter of time, and within the next few years, that Hindus will become the largest religious group in Australia after Christians. The numerical strength of Hindus is not reflected in our political system. Further, there is a significant political class who support anti-Hindu individuals and organizations. In the recent past, we have seen a baseless attack being made against Hindus and Hindu organizations in Parliament. There are other politicians that support this kind of anti-Hindu and anti-India sentiment in private. That is their democratic right. However, it is also the democratic right of Hindus to not vote for those politicians and those political parties that support Hindu-phobic individuals and organizations. In light of these matters, the AHA has commenced a project to register all Hindu voters in Australia. We've started with our own members, so we know as to our members what constituency, state and federal, they are registered to vote in. In due course, we intend to expand this register beyond our members. I have no doubt, certainly in certain constituencies in Sydney and Melbourne, that a combined Hindu vote can determine the outcome of an election. So if a candidate is either overtly or covertly supporting anti-Hindu or anti-India individuals or organizations, we will inform Hindu voters of this. Conversely, if a politician shows a resonance with and is supportive of Hindus and our sentiments, then we will also make it known to Hindu voters. Our second project is the setting up of a register of Hindu organizations in Australia. The register will be posted on our website, and it will contain information about Hindu organizations and contact details for them, those that have provided consent. The rationale behind this register is twofold. Firstly, if an individual is looking for a particular Hindu organization or type of Hindu organization, it will provide a one-stop source to readily obtain that information. Secondly, if an issue arises that affects Hindus, a Hindu organization can easily communicate with other Hindu organizations through that register. To date, we have communicated with about 100 Hindu organizations and have received responses from almost 20 of them. Our third project is the Hindu Legal Helpline. Namrata Singh, the principal of Opal Legal, will shortly unveil details of that scheme. I turn now to our future projects. It often happens that a Hindu-phobic post is posted on social media. The immediate emotive response of many Hindus is to highlight the post and personally attack its author. The result is that the author receives free publicity, and the Hindus who responded are labeled as trolls. Recognizing this, we have decided to set up a Hindu youth leadership program, because it is in our youth that our future lies. We want to train a generation of young Hindus, in particular, to be able to recognize Hinduphobia and to equip them with the skills necessary to be able to articulate the Hindu viewpoint, both orally and in writing. To this end, we will shortly commence a series of one-hour Zoom sessions targeting particularly young Hindus. Those sessions will teach young Hindus how to analyze information, to carry out basic research, how to present information that is factually correct and that can withstand scrutiny, how to communicate effectively in writing, how to be able to speak effectively in a public forum, how to present a coherent argument, and how to persuasively rebut an argument. The next project we will launch is the Hindu Legal Internship Program. Now, when I was admitted as a lawyer in 1992, I was a recent migrant. I did not have any connection with any law firms. I had no experience in the legal industry. I had nowhere to go. So I struggled in those early years. I don't want others to go through that. So I'm pleased to announce that from February 2022, the AHA, in partnership with Opal Legal, will launch the Hindu Legal Internship Program. That program will provide law students with the opportunity for work experience, being mentored by a senior lawyer, and to observe as part of a legal team court proceedings. Our third project for the future is that we'll be setting up a policy and research division within the AHA. We will invite academics, not just from Australia, but also countries like New Zealand, the United Kingdom, United States, and Canada, to undertake research and develop policy on issues affecting Hindus. The first area we want to research is the attitudes of media towards Hindus. We want to find out that when the media is creating content about Hindus, who are the individuals they speak to? Who are the organizations they speak to? What are their sources? Are they portraying Hindus in an objective, accurate manner? Do they demonstrate an understanding of Hindu issues, beliefs, and practices? In due course, we intend to publish the findings of that research. Fourthly and finally, we will shortly launch our own YouTube channel and start commencing videos on that channel. Lastly, I want to touch briefly on the Itihas of Bharat. For over 1,000 years, multiple waves of invasion have taken place against Bharat to plunder the proverbial Sone ki Chidiya. The first successful Islamic invasion was by one Muhammad bin Qasim, who captured Sindh in the year 712. There are some facts, however, about Indian history that are rarely publicized. Firstly, the fact that at least 40,000 temples were destroyed by Islamic invaders. Secondly, that it is estimated that more than 60 million Hindus were massacred during the course of these invasions. Most of you would have heard the name Hindu Kush. Do you know what that means? It means killer of Hindus. That was the place where thousands of Hindus died when they were being transported as slaves from India to Turkestan. Thirdly, history books have largely ignored or minimized the stories of those Indians and their armies who fought against these invaders. In the 8th century, Bappa Rawal literally chased the Arab invaders out of Bharat all the way to Iran. There were many others like him. Prithviraj Chauhan, Raja Prithu of Assam, who defeated the Mughals 17 times, Rana Kumbha, Sangram Singh, popularly known as Ranga Sangha, Maharana Pratap Singh, and Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. That is to name a few. They all had one thing in common. They were all Hindus. Had it not been for their unparalleled courage and extraordinary strength of character, Sanatana Dharma would not have survived today. By way of contrast, Islam took over all of North Africa in the space of 50 years. Hindus, on the other hand, still survive. 1 billion of us, thanks to the sacrifices of those Yodhas. We are the only unbroken pre-Christian civilization that survives today. Our written history goes back 5,000 years. Archaeological and DNA evidence emerging suggests that our civilization is thousands of years older than that. But even today, Hindus are being massacred in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, even in India. What is more pervasive is, of course, the other form of war, the war of information warfare against Hindus. We cannot sit back and ignore it. It is time for the Hindu Renaissance. It is time for us to reclaim our rightful place in the world stage. It is time for us to go on the offensive. The AHA, for its part, will leave no stone unturned to protect the lives of Hindus, to assist Hindu refugees, to defend and advance the rights and interests of Hindus, and to respond in a timely and appropriate manner to any attack in the form of information warfare against Hindus. And we urge every Hindu to do the same, without fear and without the expectation of any reward. Finally, for those who have illusions of the destruction of Bharat and the demise of Sanatana Dharma, I have this message. Hum the Satyug mein, hum the Treta Yug mein, hum the Dwapar Yug mein, hum hai Kal Yug mein, और रहेंगे हम हर युग पे सदा। धन्यवाद।